and welcome back to the Law Unscripted, where we talk about the law and the legal system and everything you didn't know,
didn't understand,
and no one ever told you. Today's topic is for law students in particular. We are going to talk about what to do after the bar exam. You've taken it. It's done. There's no more studying you can do for it. There's nothing else you can do. It's over. But you don't have the results. So now what? Now what do you do? And that's what this is going to talk about. We have, this is a 4-part series. This is the last of the series. We talked about what to do a month before the bar, so how to prepare a month before. We talked about what to do the week of the bar exam. We talked about what not to do the week of the bar exam, and specifically during the bar exam. What don't you do? What do you want to protect yourself from during the bar? And there are some tips for that. And now we're talking about what to do after it's over. I'm Virginia Tarani. I am the attorney owner of Tarani Law, LLC. We are a full-time firm operating in Maryland, serving Maryland, D.C., and Virginia, mostly for personal injury law. And I am joined by my colleague, Chelsea Rogers, who's also one of our attorneys and my fellow co-host on the Law Unscripted and the other podcast, The Legal Weekly Wine. Hi, Chelsea.
Hi, glad to be here.
Oh my gosh.
We're talking about the good part now. The bar is done. Well, I say good part. This was honestly maybe the time period that was even worse than studying for the bar, which seems like that wouldn't be possible. But it's like the pending, it's like you are just in this like purgatory thing that was not a good time.
Oh, I love that you've called it that because I agree. I think this time period between the time that it's over and the time that you get your results is truly purgatory. If there's a good term, that's what it is, because you're just sitting, you're not quite in hell, but you are not anywhere in heaven. You're suffering, right? Because every day is a question, did I pass? Did I not? And you won't know for months. They don't grade this stuff quickly.
Like 2.5 months for me. Yeah. And I think it was, I thought it was going to be longer. The date that they had originally given us would have been right at about 3 months, but it ended up being like a week or 2 weeks. I obviously cannot do math. 2 weeks earlier than expected. But that was terrible. Waiting to find out. Terrible.
It is. It's a really hard period. And for you, I already had enough time. I took 2 different bar exams. I took the Virginia bar in 2005. And then in 2015, I added the Maryland bar and I took that. And it was just as bad the second time as it was the first time. Even though I was a practicing attorney, I already had the Virginia license. I was already practicing. But I was like, oh my goodness, how embarrassing would it be if I fail the second bar exam? I passed the hardest, one of the hardest in the country is Virginia. And if I passed that, but I fail Maryland, it would be ridiculous. And I'm already thinking up in my mind, I'm creating these worst case scenarios for myself of, I'll be embarrassed. And what will it look like? I've already told all these people I'm taking the Maryland bar. I can't get a job in Maryland now because I moved to Maryland. So, clearly, thankfully, I passed. But when you were taking it, I actually had the same anticipation. I was physically concerned about you, thinking over and over. I mean, we're taping this in 2024. You took the exam. You are straight out. You've been an attorney almost a full year. It's been over a year since you took the bar. You took the bar in 2023. And my heart palpitations were going last year for you almost as much as they were for me the 2 times I took the bar. It was very difficult.
I mean, it's a hard period. And I don't have any desire to ever take a bar exam ever again. And I wish, honestly, if the results were sort of more immediate, I think it would be less stressful, but the waiting killed me.
And it's hard because for the multiple choice, right? Half the exam across the country, most follow the UBE, but not everybody. Most people take the MBE, which is the multiple choice part. That's already graded, right? You stick that in a machine and it's done.
Yeah.
What's happening during this time period is the essays are being farmed out to graders. And this is one of the things I learned later is, where do they find these graders? Who grades these things? And it was one of the funniest things was to find that when I went to the prosecutor's office in Newport News, Virginia, my fellow prosecutors were grading for the bar exam. They were given the criminal law question. So there was a criminal law and procedure question, mostly each year. There was something related to criminal law, procedure, evidence, that sort of thing. And those essays, just those essays, were sent to these people who had volunteered to do it. And they were usually, prosecutors and public defenders across the state, practicing attorneys. And that was really interesting to me is like, oh my God, actual practicing attorneys grade these. And let's be honest, they're waiting on all these really busy professionals who have regular full-time jobs to grade your essays.
Right.
It's not the multiple choice. They're waiting on your essays and all of the graders to finish them. And honest to goodness, I don't know that I could grade. Right. I have, 2 full-time jobs is what we have. We do, Tarani Law and the Law Unscripted, both full-time positions. We work. Can you imagine trying to grade even one essay of how many people's essays you get and trying to follow a pattern of, give points for this and take off points for that or leave, no points if they're.
Yeah.
Can you imagine adding that? That would take a while.
No, not at all. I commend them for doing it because I absolutely could not and would not.
Yeah, it's hard. So what do you do? What do you do while these random people across your state are grading your essays and taking their time because they're regular working attorney professionals who are doing this in their non-spare time? We have a list of 4 things, and we're going to talk about them. We're going to go through them fairly quickly because you also don't want to listen to an hour-long podcast. So let's tell you what those are, and then let's walk through so we can try to give you a little bit of hope that there are things you can be doing. You don't have to just be sitting and dreading what's coming. You can do things. So the first thing we're going to suggest is take a break, right?
Yes.
Right after the bar, do nothing. Take a break.
Go get some good food, have a glass of wine, and take a couple days.
Take a couple days,
nothing.
a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks. Into August, go through the end of August. Take time. This is the time to go on a vacation. If you have the money, if you have the time, it is unlikely, not impossible, but most people who have offers for incoming offers, especially for law firms, you usually would start working even without having passed the bar yet, at least through, your bar exam results. Some people start working at firms after the bar exam, but that's usually September, right? Usually late August, early September, around the Labor Day mark. So there are some of you who will start doing some kind of work before you pass the bar, before you get the results. But there's usually, at least for almost everybody, a break. Take a break if you can. Even if you have to work, take a couple days. Take a weekend. Go to the mountains. Go to, the city across, the next city. Go to a lake. Go somewhere where you can take a break and a vacation and just recenter, relax, and tell yourself it's over. It's over.
I was like, this is the first time in, I don't know, maybe years, my whole life that I don't have something immediately on my brain, like pressing that, school is done. The bar exam has been taken. I was like, there's so much space in my brain now for, other thoughts.
Right. And put them there. Do something, yoga, meditation, whatever it takes, that at least get refocused of I am no longer in panic mode.
Yes.
Right.
That's what it felt like was the first time that
of that panic mode. Relieve yourself of the imminent dread and upcoming huge work that, feels critical. And it is. We're not saying that it isn't. It is. But relieve yourself of that burden. And the funny thing for me, we're talking about the purgatory part. I was stressed for all of the bar, but the worst night I ever had was the day it finished. So on the second day of the bar exam, I go to bed, and I shared a hotel room with one of my closest friends. And she woke me in the middle of the night because it was after that second day, there was nothing left to do. And I had woken up screaming. I was screaming out loud, and she had to wake me up because I was screaming because I was having nightmares. And it was because there wasn't anything more I could do. And I'm used to, okay, well, I'll go do something. I can study more. I can review more. I can take another test. I can do something. But at that point, there was nothing more to do. It was over. Yeah. I couldn't fix it. I couldn't go back. I couldn't change it. I couldn't study more. There was nothing more I could do. And I really needed to recenter. I needed to take a step back and say, okay, I have done the most difficult thing I can do in my life. It's done. Yeah. Whether I passed or I failed, at least at this point right now, it is over. Yeah. And I need to pat myself on the back and say, good job.
You did the thing.
Did it. You did the thing. I love it. You did the thing. And it's done. And it's okay. Yeah. And good job for even doing the thing. Whether you passed or not. How many people can't do the thing?
Exactly.
You know, we're a select few, you guys. You did it. You got through it. Some people don't even make it through the full test. When I was taking the Virginia bar, I saw at least 2 people get up and literally walk out.
Yeah.
So if you were at this point, you did it. You did a good job. Take a break and breathe.
Absolutely.
That's point 1. Now I'm going to say the next 3, but we're going to go back and we're going to hit them as quickly as possible. But the next is, okay, let's reconnect. Okay. So we're going to reconnect. Now we've taken a break. We're going to reconnect. The third thing we're going to do is then we're going to get ready to work. And the fourth is we're going to create a plan, and we're going to do that specifically. So we took our break. We're going to reconnect. We're going to get ready to work, and we're going to create a plan. So let's talk about reconnecting. Chelsea, I know this was especially important for you. I look like I'm 18, but it's been honestly 19 years. 19 years now since I took my first bar exam. And when I took that bar exam, we had social media, but it wasn't like now, right? I wasn't using my cell phone as much. I didn't have as much social media interaction through any of it. We didn't have X, we didn't do this. So for you, especially now, what does that look like in reconnecting? Why do we need to reconnect at all?
Oh, absolutely. And anybody who's watched the other videos in our series, I say it all the time that I was like explicitly like, I'm not engaging in this. I kind of was shutting myself off to really focus on it. And sort of set the boundaries of like, do not ask me about it. I don't want to talk about it. And so it was that kind of thing of like, one, checking in with everybody I hadn't really been checking in with for like 3 months and saying, hi, I know I've been gone. I've just ghosted for 3 months, but I've been thinking about you. Hope you're doing well. Phone calls, texting, getting back on social media, and just communicating with people, because I think I probably had like 84 unread text messages, like spanning over months and months. And I was like, I should probably let my friends know that, I've come up from the dungeon that I've locked myself away in.
Yeah. And that's good. And one of the things we've said in our prior videos is before the bar, let people know. Remove yourself from as much of it as possible. You don't have time. And you need to tell people, look, it's going to be some couple months. I'm not trying to be offensive. I'm not trying to be a bad friend. I will be disconnecting. I'm going to take this time for me. And now's the time to say, okay, I'm back, everybody. But take it easy, especially for people like me. I love people. I am an introverted extrovert, I think is the way we call ourselves now, I love people. I'm a great networker, but in doses. I can only take a little bit at a time. So for me, it was important to, okay, today or this week, I'm reaching out to these people. Not all the people, these people. Or I'm going to make one overall post of I'm back. I'm slowly getting back into things. It's great to see you all. I'm catching up. Stay tuned. Where you're letting people know you're getting back, but you're not overwhelming yourself of reconnecting with every single person in your life all at once. Don't stress yourself out more. You've finished the bar. That was a stress. You've taken your break to reframe, recenter yourself. Now you're going to reconnect, but reconnect in a smart way where it's not overwhelming you. And you also want to be careful because what's going to happen, Chelsea, when you start reconnecting with these people? What do they want to know?
Yep. They want to know, did you pass? Did you pass? When do you get your scores? Did you pass? I was I mean, no one's going to be shocked by this if you've listened to any of our other content. I'm a very blunt person, and I made it explicitly clear that do not ask me that question when I know you will know. And if you say that to me, I'm actually just going to start screaming.
And that's the thing is, so be careful when you post, when you reconnect, be very diligent in saying, I don't know and won't know the results of the bar exam for months. Please be considerate. I'm glad you want to know. I'm glad you care about me, but please don't ask. And one of the things that was interesting with you is there were so many people who know, our connection, and you were with Tarani Law, and, we intended to take you on as a full-time attorney rather than just, the assistant when you passed. And we had so many people rooting for you. But what they did, thankfully, is they asked me.
Which was so good. And I think that is so smart. So smart that they did that. And I mean, if you have that person in your life, you're like, if you have questions, like, talk to them.
Talk to mom, talk to my husband, talk to my whatever, designate a person or just say, I'll get back to you, just do the one-time social media, whatever, figure out what you need, but don't overwhelm yourself and make sure people know so they're not always asking you and you can still take your break. Because if you come straight back into, hey, did you pass? Do you know? The more you hear that from other people, for me, I got more worried. I was never so worried as that time where I couldn't do anything about it. And those months were excruciating for me. So make sure you're making it better for yourself, not worse. Yes. So be careful in your reconnections, but do reconnect because you want to have some people. You need people. You need somebody to be supporting you during this time, but choose who they are. Talk to them about what you need and tell people what you don't need to.
Yes.
Okay, so that's reconnecting. Now, let's get ready to go back to work. We've had the break, we've reconnected, and now we're in this limbo. Either, there are a lot of us who are going to be in that job. You were in Tarani Law, so you still had some work. You weren't working full time.
No,
but there were projects there that you could do when you wanted to. There's some people, especially, like I said, at law firms who are already going to be at work and working. So for them, it's fairly easy, right? Go to work. That's your thing. Be careful when you work, do a diligent job, do a good job, because whether you passed or you didn't, you want to make a good impression. And if you didn't pass, you want that firm, that office to say, you know what, we like you so much and we like what you're doing. We have no idea why you didn't pass the bar. You should have. It was a fluke. We're going to keep you on, even as a legal assistant, until you pass it again. So you want to make the best impression, work as hard as you possibly can in the firm, whether you've passed or not, and without knowing, because there are good possibilities for it. But especially if you pass, I mean, you want to make a good impression. You want them to keep you. You want them to want to look at you and say, that person has potential here. That person has a future here. We can see them being a supervisor. We can see them being XYZ. So if you're in a work position and don't need to find work, go work and work at it well. But Chelsea, what do they do if they don't have the job or they haven't started working yet? Let's say they're public service. They're going to be a prosecutor and they have an offer pending acceptance, passing of the bar, where they're like, okay, well, we tentatively am going to take you after November or in November, or you can't apply until November, especially for public service. What do those people do?
Well, I think this was a good time to update like all of your like LinkedIn type of things, to take new, because no one's going to be surprised that people who go to law school and take the bar tend to be type A. And so you're like, I want a task. I want to like feel like I'm doing something. So in my mind, this is a good time to revamp all of that. Take new headshot, update your LinkedIn.
That's great.
I very rarely would update my LinkedIn. It'd be like once every 6 months, and then it'd be like 18 gazillion notifications for everybody. So this would be the time that I did my, biannually. Do I know words? I don't know.
I've been struggling with them too. It's okay. Most people who just took the bar exam will struggle like we are.
Yes, that's true. Truly. Update your resume, and so go in and change it from, whatever it said before, make sure it's up to date. Even though I was not, I was going to work with you. I wasn't planning on anywhere else. I did all of those things because I was like, it's probably a good time to do it now.
Yes.
And have it if I ever need it. Like I said, take some new pictures, like professional pictures. I think that's always good to update those kind of things in this time. Also a work wardrobe. I think this is fun.
It's a great time to do it.
Great time of sort of take inventory of what professional clothing you have, what professional clothing you're sort of lacking, so that when you do go to work, you can hit all these summer sales and really be
there's
conscientious.
So many right now. I mean, you're looking at August and September. There are so many sales from the summer into the fall. Go get them, because you're going to need the wardrobe, whether it's for interviews, whether it's for work. You're going to need them, and you're at your current weight for the most part, right? This isn't pre-buying last year before you ate all those chips. For me, I've gained a lot of weight. Let's just be honest, and I'm being honest in front of everybody. I've gained weight. I would need to find a new wardrobe. I've had to revamp my own wardrobe, but this is the time before you do that. I love that you're talking about, updating your resume and your profile and your LinkedIn, because you want to have that the most up to date. Let people know at the top of your resume, at the top of LinkedIn, took the whatever state bar, July 2024. Whatever year you're watching this, right? Whatever year you took it, took the bar exam, whatever, 2020, whatever, pending results.
Yeah.
Right. Results expected, anticipated results, November 2024, whatever it is.
Yeah. Go remove JD candidate from everything, because I did not do that in between graduation and the bar. I waited to after the bar to do that and was like, oh my God, it's on everything.
Yes.
It's on everything.
Yes. Take it off. So make sure at the top of your resume, you've got that you took the bar and your pending results. The next part of your resume, just down from that, you want to make sure that you've been shown as JD. Right, that you are fully accredited now. You graduated from law school. You've got the JDs. So put those at the top of your resume, and make sure all of that's up to date. Because people who are looking for candidates, especially public service, I did when I first graduated, I ended up as a defense attorney, and I was going through different offers of, public defenders, et cetera, and they couldn't hire, right? They couldn't hire for a while. So it was making sure I was saying, what do I want to say? What do I want to put forward? What do I want to have as strength in my resume? I'm learning more about the law, right? I want to go into criminal law in Virginia. What am I going to do? I'm going to read up on the law. Yeah. I'm going to make sure that I know, forget about all the property. I don't need that. I need to know criminal law. So I'm looking at, possession with intent to distribute. Well, that wasn't on the bar. Well, I'm not doing the bar anymore, right? I want a job with a prosecutor in Virginia or a public defender. What do I need to know? I need to know what to do with the possession with intent to distribute. I need to know. So start working on that. Start focusing on what type of law do I want? What type of job do I want? Focus on learning that area, forgetting about the rest of the bar, narrow it down. This is the time to narrow it down. So when you go into your interviews, you have a solid working, talking relationship with these subjects where you sound passionate about it. You sound somewhat knowledgeable about it. You're going to have to learn, right? You don't know everything. They expect to teach you, but you need to have at least a familiarity with what's out there, with what you're trying to do. So that's a good time. So now we've taken a break. We've reconnected. We've prepared to work.
Yes.
What do we plan?
This is what I think the most important tip is. This was it for me, because you're like, again, you're at the point where there's nothing more you can do at this point. You're just waiting, which is, again, terrible feeling. I think purgatory was the word for it. So I think this was the thing that made me feel the best. This made me feel the best, was saying, okay, You're right. I'm not going to know for months what happened, but I do know there are two options. I either pass or I failed.
Yeah.
So I just decided, okay, well, I have no control over it, but I can make those decisions now.
Yeah.
So no matter what, I open up that email and click on it. No matter what that says, I know what's going to happen next, because I feel like the uncertainty was what was stressing me out.
You.
And so if you can take any of that uncertainty away, so if it's like, well, if I failed, I'm gonna go live with my parents, study, take the February bar, or whatever that plan is. I literally had it written out. If I fail, here's what's happening next. If I pass, here's what's happening next. And I think just having that in place made me feel a lot better.
I think it's brilliant because it gives you something to focus on without being paralyzed.
Yes.
It gives, for type A people like us, it gives you something to do where I can't do any more studying. I can't take any more tests. So what do? Well, I make the plans for what happens if. You start with what happens if I pass, right? Yes. You start with that. You assume that you passed. Start with that assumption and work with that. It's very empowering.
Yeah.
But then be self-aware to say, okay, it is possible I didn't. And that's okay. That's okay. I have a plan now, and make that plan. I love that you made that plan. It's not the end of the world. It will feel like it, and it will especially feel like it if you didn't make a plan for it. But if you make a plan for it, at least you can say, all right, even if it happens, I'm okay because I know what I'm going to do. And you don't have to think about it after you've looked and seen that you failed the bar. You can say, nope, I have that plan. I'm going to take another break.
Yep. Yes.
Reorient, reconnect, and now I'm going to enact my plan. But have a plan so you know that you are not a ship without water. You have something to do. You have a safety net.
Yeah, I think that, and for me, I think I was just, I mean, I think everyone is scared that they didn't pass, right?
Oh,
and so I think more than that, I was in my mind, like, I'm scared I didn't pass. And then I'm going to have to be in that headspace of like how upset I would be.
Yeah.
I don't even know if that is the right word. Devastated. I don't know. Heartbroken, all of these things. And I was like, I don't think if that happens and I am in that headspace, I am definitely not going to be in a headspace where I want to be making my future plans.
Right. So do
in that
it
headspace.
Now. Yeah.
Do it now.
In
exactly.
this headspace so that you can help yourself when you're in that headspace. Exactly. And I will tell you, I've had several people that I've known have not passed the bar, but I'm going to tell you about two of them as there's hope situations. Okay. So one of the best attorneys I've ever known in my life. I respect this person immensely. I mean, I couldn't find a better attorney, especially in the area of practice that he's in. I'm like, this is incredible. And I was shocked when at some point we'd been working together a couple of years and he let slip, I only passed on the second time I took the bar. You? It would have been like telling me my dad, the dean of the Honors College of Middle Tennessee, like it would have been telling me he had failed. This man who was the most, the best attorney I'd ever known. He said he had failed the first time. And I was like, okay, then he's fine. Clearly you can fail and then pass and you'll be okay because he's truly one of the best attorneys I know. And he failed the first time. And you know what? 20 years later, it doesn't matter because you know what people don't ask you? Did you fail the first time? They don't. They ask you, are you licensed? Where do you practice? And your answer is this state or this state and this state and this state. It's not how many times did you fail the bar? They don't ask that question.
Nobody cares.
Nobody cares later. And the other one I'll say is I had a very good friend who extremely smart, and she failed the bar the first time. But the reason she failed is her fiance broke up with her that summer. In the middle of
evil.
Right. In the middle of studying for the bar, she has this, this huge close relationship break off. And so she struggled what are you going to do when, you get divorced or, your significant other tells you that they're leaving, whatever relationship it is, it's a significant, blow. And it happened to her, and it happened while she was studying for the bar. She couldn't prepare for it. She didn't mean to, it's not like she prepared for this, but she failed the first time. And you know what? It was okay. She picked it back up. She passed the second time, and she got into JAG. Because you know what JAG didn't ask her? Did you fail the first time? How many times did you take it? They didn't ask, right?
Yeah.
Because they don't care. What they care about is, did you pass it?
Yeah.
Whenever you did. So that's my, hopefully, words of good cheer for people out there of it is okay. It's not the end of the world. No. You can be amazing people, wonderful attorneys, brilliant people, and fail the bar.
Yep.
And you'll be okay. But have a plan for whatever it is, whether you pass, whether you fail, have a plan, come up with it, map it out. If you like charts, make a chart. We use Canva. We love graphics.
We love a good Canva chart.
So, do an Excel sheet, whatever you do, or just tell a friend, talk through it with a friend of what are you going to do, but come up with a plan. So overall, our recommendations, and hopefully this podcast has helped, our recommendations are to take a break, reconnect, get ready to work, and create a plan. What if?
Yeah.
And that's what you need to do. So hopefully all of this has helped. If you haven't, if you're looking for something interesting, if you've missed our other ones and you've already taken the bar, go back and listen to them. See if you actually did what we told you we should do, or if you missed them. Could be funny. Or
if you have any thoughts of anything else that you think people should be doing.
Please put in the comments. What did what are you doing right now? If you've just taken the bar and are waiting for the results, what are you finding helpful? Are these good ideas? What ideas do you have? Share some thoughts. Help some other people who are in your situation. Help them get through what you're going through. Drop some comments in, like and subscribe the channel so you can get more of our videos. We are going to be doing some more series. We're going to be doing a series on special defenses. We're going to talk about Lorena Bobbitt. We're going to talk about the New York subway alleged self-defense case. Some sex trafficking defense, and a new one that's come up this year that we've been taping. So stay tuned with us for that. Catch us on the Law Unscripted podcast. Check out our website, thelawunscripted.com, for any kind of law school studying help, programs. Check out our merchandise. We do have some shirts. We have some tumblers. And we will catch you next time on The Law Unscripted.